Don't wear things that are being distracted from the main purpose of what's being done.
If purity is represented in both who you are on the inside and on the outside, they should match. And if they do match, then what we're seeing on the outside is actually displaying what's on the inside.
Known for her heart of purity, compassion, and authenticity, she is a woman who leads by example, a true girl's girl, empowering young women to embody purity in action. From speaking at the very first launch of the Endeavor series to modeling for Drop 4 of Endeavor Made, wife to Blake Johnson, this is Millie Johnson.
Well, welcome to the Endeavor series. Welcome back to season 2, Wrecked by God, or for short, Wrecked. What happens when your whole world and everything you thought you knew was completely flipped upside down because you encountered the real God? We just did an episode recently, about a couple of weeks ago, with Blake Johnson, and now we are here with Millie Johnson. I love them. They are my brother, my sister, my cousins, my family, and I'm just so honored to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. Millie is just such a sister, someone who's going to lift you up, someone who's going to call out the gold in you. I love you.
Yay, I love you too. Thanks for having us. I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah, so Blake and Millie are married.
Yes.
We had part 1. Now we're kind of like, I guess you could say, at part 2. We talked about how to have a healthy life physically and spiritually. And so I'll go ahead and link that in this video as well if you'd like to take a look at that. And now what we want to talk about is just purity, spiritually, physically, all the things. But before we get into any of that conversation, who are you? Where are you coming from? What's your story?
My name's Millie Johnson. I'm 24 years old. I actually didn't grow up in the church, so I kind of found the Lord as I was searching and asking for him whenever I was probably around 17 years old. It's been so beautiful just to see what it was like living in the world and just like secular without him, with no hope. And then now living with him and just seeing the goodness of God just shows his kindness and his love for his people. I'm just so thankful that I also have this perspective of what it was like before living with the Lord and just not growing up in church. And that's what I love about this series as well, is that you get to kind of discover your purpose and discover your calling. I love bringing that perspective of not growing up in the church, because whether you're watching this because you want to draw closer, you don't even believe in God, or you're just searching, I think this is just such a good platform to have these conversations and follow those things and find those things and discover them. My husband's actually the one who invited me to church for the first time.
Blake invited you to church?
Yeah,
I love that.
The reason why I was searching for the Lord in the beginning was because my brother was the age of 12. I was 9 at the time. He was diagnosed with epilepsy. Our whole family just altered and shifted ever since he was diagnosed. He was my best friend growing up. So I have an older brother, and then him, and then me, and then a younger brother. So since we were the middle children, we were just best friends, and I just hated seeing him have to go through this, and it was just really hard. It was, he couldn't swim, he couldn't ride bikes, he couldn't watch movies, like all these things that you do as a kid were just kind of like stripped away. I would wish on shooting stars, I would wish on birthday candles, like that's all I knew. And then I remember my mom speaking of God and kind of teaching me who he was, that he's all powerful and he's so big and that we can pray to him at any time. And I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna pray to God. And so I didn't even know how to pray. I didn't even know how to talk to God. 2 weeks later, Blake invites me to church. It was like I found the Lord and he found me. I was like, wow, like I want more of this. And it definitely took me some time to kind of prioritize that, because it was just so foreign. Like even my family would be like, why are you going to church? Like this is so weird. I don't get it. Like you're probably doing it for a boy. Like, but I was really like, my heart was just like touched. And so I really wanted to go.
And I love even just wishing on shooting stars and like on birthday candles. That's so sweet, but that's so real. It's like if you don't know God, then what are you going to like put your hope in?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And so that makes perfect sense. I had no idea that Blake was the one that started bringing you to church. So how did your guys' relationship form from that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was really funny. So we met when we were 15. I was 14, and it was my freshman year, his sophomore year of high school. And we just kind of met each other and instantly kind of had crushes on each other. But at the time, we were just so young. So we kind of just like kept it regular. And then we just created this really great friendship, and like he'd invite me to church, and he's like, hey, I'm playing drums on a Sunday. He was a PK. So his dad was a pastor. So like him and his brothers were always involved with the church to some capacity. And so I just like visited. He invited me just because we were friends. And then luckily we just kind of grew in our friendship up until like when we actually started dating.
Yeah. And your mom, are you going to church because of boys?
Exactly.
And now you're married.
And I'm like, I know this looks bad, but it's just the timing of it, because we tried dating 3 times, and it wasn't until the 3rd time that we actually like, it was for the long haul. So the first time is kind of just crushes, like a schoolyard boyfriend, and then like you go back home and it's just like regular life. Sophomore year, his junior year, we were like really wanting to date. We were like going to all the dances together and like homecoming and all this stuff. And then my mom's like, no, you can't date. Can't be distracted. You need to focus on your schooling. It was interesting though, because that was when the Lord was really growing me in my faith. Looking back now, I'm like, if me and Blake would have dated at that time, that would have been the end of Blake and Millie. Like we were not equally yoked. We were not had the same like values, and like I didn't have like very much understanding of the Bible or who God is. I think that would have definitely caused tension in our relationship, and just like a lack of maturity probably on my end and his end. He wasn't fully living for the Lord at that time either yet. That was actually the same year that I got baptized, I believe, around the same time, and he actually got baptized on the same day as well. And he's like, I'm not gonna live on my parents' faith anymore. Like I want to like make my faith my own. So it was really cool just to like start our relationship kind of in the same spiritual level, like pursuing the Lord, getting closer to him, and keeping him at the center of our relationship. So it was just really sweet.
That's so precious. I think that's the first time I've ever heard that story.
Oh my gosh, yeah. God is the best author of love stories, and it's just so sweet to find your person.
Also, something that I know that you're very passionate about is talking about purity.
Yeah.
And so what do you, I know that you shared, you encourage young women in purity. Where do you do that? What does that look like? How are you in leadership in that way?
Yeah, so this actually correlates to my story too, in coming to know the Lord. Like I said, when I gave my life to the Lord, I was so all in and wanted more of him, and I just could see like light and dark, and I wanted the light, and I just wanted more of that. This is kind of where it all started for me, because I'm still understanding the words. That's why I also love the series too, because like I think you mentioned it in like that one Instagram content creator who like uses these words, especially coming from like not growing up in the church. I'm like, wait, what are they saying? Like what does that even mean? Like what are those words that these Christians use, like Christianese? Like no, let's break it down and actually make it make sense. And there was this youth girls conference, and I was the youth leader at the time. The speaker had already given her message. She had this altar call, so everyone went to the front, and so all my 12 girls are like standing in the front, and then she's like, I have a word for you. And I was like, me? You're set apart, and you're gonna be speaking to thousands of young women on purity. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know what my first thought was? This is actually, it's gonna make you laugh. Because I was so new to my faith, and I was like, oh my gosh, how does she know I'm a virgin? Like literally. Like my correlation of purity and like virginity, like that was just like, that's in my mind, that's what I thought it meant. I was like, oh my gosh, how does she know that? Like it was just so funny. So my whole mindset was just very secular, everything that I learned from the world, saw in movies and all that stuff. So really my plan was to graduate from high school, go to college, and then I'll date a boy, and then if we really like each other, then we'll move in, and then if it works out for a few years, then we'll get married. Like that was my whole mindset, to just be so foreign to like this concept of marriage. It was just so interesting just to go into marriage so young. I was like, what? Like what's happening? Like this is crazy. Like this is not normal. Like we actually got engaged when we were like 18 probably. Wow. Maybe Blake was 19, but it was just so crazy. Ever since we got married, the Lord has blessed it and has used our marriage just to speak to so many people around us. We've been on panels. The panels that were invited on, Blake would speak on porn, and I would be speaking on what is sex and what is purity and like all these things. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's coming to pass. Like I'm actually living in it, which is just so crazy.
I love it. I do. Sometimes I'll see Instagram posts. It's like Blake and Millie is speaking at this conference. I love to have friends that are like that. I love that I'm so honored to be able to say my friends are all pursuing what God has given them, their God-given purpose in such big ways, and it's been cool to see them step forward in the little things to get to those big things. So, and we're all rooting for all you guys. We love you. So
likewise too.
And also for the Lord to trust you with that conversation. Purity is such a big conversation, because there's so many words attached to that word. Sexuality, porn addiction, body image, physical purity, spiritual purity. There's so many words attached to that one word, and it can be kind of a sensitive topic for people. And so for God to trust you with that conversation, that's a big deal. And I'm so excited to have that conversation today. What is purity?
Purity is freedom from anything that contaminates. And I think that's such a great definition because society and culture, they kind of view it as sexual alone and like associate that like sexual immorality and those sexual sins with purity. But actually it's so much deeper than that. The way that culture is in relationships, idea of love, that's actually a counterfeit love, and that they think it's through sexual relations. If I got to say to young girls who are kind of living in this culture, if they're in high school or if they're in college, society or culture says that I lost my virginity. But I think as Christian women, we should say, no, I'm keeping this, and it's not something that's going to be taken, it's going to be something that's given, because like you're saving that, and it's actually, you're going to be so intentional with your purity in that sense of being intimate with someone, because that's the Lord's design, and it's actually a spiritual covenant with this person. Purity is so much more deeper, and it goes into your heart and not just your appearance, the way that you dress, because modesty is also tied to purity and all these other aspects, but it's really about the condition of your heart and the motive of your heart, because purity is actually a reflection of Jesus, because he's holy and pure. He's the only one that's the most holy and pure. So if we're walking in our purity, we're actually reflecting the image of God.
There's a lot to unpack there, right? And I mean, just speaking about one of the first things that we were talking about is, purity being given rather than taken. I know there's so many levels to that. The first one I want to address is that, like, I think maybe the reason why if you're feeling this way, or if you're struggling with this, or if you think like you need to maybe give that away to feel valuable, I think that kind of goes to show that for both men and women, like your purity is valuable. And I think that's why maybe our world feels like that's the biggest thing that we want to live freely in or give away, because if that holds so much value to me, then maybe that person will value me because I'm giving something like so vulnerable. It's a vulnerable thing.
It's so vulnerable.
I'm giving something so vulnerable, so valuable, therefore this person will love me more, or this person will treat me better, whatever. So it's like, that's a complete lie. Like it's so valuable to have that for your special someone. The second thing I know is a really, really hard conversation about like giving versus taking. I know that some people maybe like have had their purity taken from them, maybe have had something stripped away from them where it wasn't their choice and it wasn't their decision. I know there's so much to cover, so we're going to cover all of it. Purity is so much more than the physical. It's also the heart. It comes out in everything that you do. Anything that, like you said, isn't contaminated, or another word, something that is sincere. Purity is something sincere. So that could even be in your character, in your motives. Are your motives pure? Is your character pure? Is your intentions pure? So pure is just, like you said, anything that isn't contaminated, anything that is sincere.
As we're pursuing purity, it's in all aspects. And it goes to the root of our hearts, to our motives, and just it basically questions and breaks down the why of everything that we do. That will seep into the way that we talk, the way that we act, the way that we make decisions. If you are going into a relationship, like, is this person that you're talking to, is he honoring? Is he clear? Like, we'd never like a guy who's just confusing you and not having clarity. Like, we love to be pursued with direction and like, I really like you and I want to take you on a date, and this is like my intention, So like walking with the Lord and discovering his character and then living that out. What does that look like to live out in our own lives?
I like to think of the character of God as the fruits of the Spirit. So it's like, are your intentions loving, joyful, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness? Are you moving forward in self-discipline? I feel like that's a big one.
That's a good one.
I know that the Lord says the greatest thing is love. For me, I'm like, the greatest thing is self-discipline. Like self-control. Like, God, can we insert a verse in there and add that one in there too? Because I think self-control is a huge thing when it comes to purity.
That's true. That's like the purification. When you refine something, you have to go through these hardships of like, sometimes it's uncomfortable, sometimes it's not popular. It's what's honoring God. And at the end of the day, I like to ask myself, like, am I pleasing man or am I pleasing Jesus? That always helps me make my decisions and clear my conscience. We are in these bodies, and but we also have a spiritual side to it. So we actually do have that control over our minds. We have that authority in the Lord to speak to the spiritual things that will try to lead you to darkness instead of the light.
When your body is craving, we talked about health and fitness earlier, so might as well just bring that in. Like, like, I can't tell you how many times my body is craving like Lay's chips at like 1 a.m. in the morning. Like, and have I fallen into that? Yes, I have. When your body craves chocolate, it's actually craving the magnesium and the minerals that your body actually needs, which you can actually get from these greens and this meat, whatever. So it's like there's counterfeits in food
that's
that
true.
our body is actually craving. So like if that is our physical body, our spiritual, our soul, our being, who you are as a person is craving something, but it's actually a counterfeit, meaning it's actually not, it's not going to be the thing that actually is going to be healthy for you. And it's so normal for like our bodies to want like love, to want to have but that's the thing, it's your body wants intimacy. So instead of going to porn, there's counterfeits for intimacy. I think having a desire to be intimate is not a bad thing, but it's like there's a way to do it that's actually going to be healthy for you, and there's a way not to do it that's not going to be healthy for you and it's going to destroy you in the long run.
Like you said, we were going to be having these cravings for potato chips at 1 a.m. and that sounds really good in the moment, but then when you eat it and you feed yourself that, you're like, oh, like it's like 1 a.m. Like, why did I do that? I feel so gross. And I'm like,
I feel disgusting.
You feel horrible. But then there's purpose to that desire. And like those desires aren't bad, but what you're feeding into those desires is what's important and that we need to be aware of. And that there's always an alternative to that. Having that self-control and that discipline of ourselves, of what's going to actually be good for us.
Purity flows through everything that we do. I know maybe there's a really sensitive heart behind the topic of purity because for those that maybe didn't walk in purity, or again, it was taken from them.
What the enemy meant for evil, God will turn it for good. Just like the story of the women at the well. Like Jesus came up to her and received her and was so loving and kind, and he told her, despite her past, despite the things that she's done, she had been married 5 times, living with another man, not married. The Lord can totally redeem that. And then for the person on the opposite side too, that it was just taken away from them, like that's like a deep trauma and sorrow that not many people can understand, but the Lord can totally show them what true love is through his character, him alone, if he has to restore that understanding in their mind. But then he knows our desires of our heart. If we do want to be married one day and we want to be taken care of and in a healthy relationship with someone, he will prepare that for you again. And there's so much restoration in your future. If the enemy tried to take that away or destroy that, like there's nothing that can keep you from the love of God and receiving his goodness and his light.
And I know like that just sounds so simple over a really complicated and really deep conversation. Just like as Millie said, there's definitely, God has a purpose and a plan for you. It's not, the Lord hasn't like finished your story. And it could be to like help those that are in trafficking. It could like your testimony could be something to bring life to other people, and it's easy to say, God, why me? Why would you do this to me? And I get it.
And then to even speak personally from our own story, like there was a lot of trials that we actually had to go through. It was so interesting having this whole like secular mindset, because my mindset before was like, the guy that I'm probably going to be with is probably going to be experienced, or I'm not going to be the first girl that he's been with. That was just, I guess that was what I thought. But and Blake grew up in the church, and when I was learning about the Bible, God's design for our lives, I grew up with like 0 parental guidance. My oldest brother was kind of like our babysitter and just like would allow any movie to be playing. Not that they would play this, but like if there was just like a show that ended or like whatever, there would basically be porn on the TV. And like I didn't even realize, like I was just a kid, but the Lord totally like just guarded me from that. Being in a relationship with Blake and him growing up in the church, like I thought he was taught these things and had more familiarity with the Bible, but having to learn that Blake wasn't a virgin whenever we started dating was really hard, which I'd never expected it to be, because if you think about where I came from and my whole mindset, it was kind of there. So like to actually be there, I was like, wait, there's actually a lot of pain and hurt in this. But the Lord totally redeemed that for us. And it was really beautiful. And it was a really long process for me. I'm just so thankful that he was able just to renew my mind. And the Lord in that just truly showed me forgiveness, like what the true definition of forgiveness, like what does that actually look like? Because I had to extend that in a time that like it didn't seem deserving, didn't seem like I wanted to, like you hurt me, like that's just the feelings that I felt.
I love that you mentioned both sides of being not in the church and then being in the church kind of perspective, because I think there might, I at least what I hear, there's kind of this idea of like, oh, self-righteousness, oh, like you didn't quote unquote lose yourself, oh, you're self-righteous, like there's kind of a negative connotation to purity, but then there's also a negative connotation to losing your purity, so it's like it's not even a win-win circumstance. If you are in a moment right now where you are in decision making, do I give myself fully to this guy, to this girl, maybe like you're in a relationship that's making you step outside of those boundaries or things like that, just encourage you to be strong and to be courageous and know that like you are so valuable. That's like a part of you that doesn't deserve to be with anyone but God's best. Maybe you have already lost your purity, or you've already like got it taken away, or anything like that. Like again, God can restore that. God has something for you. There's gonna be maybe a little bit more of a bumpy road, or more of a that hard, hurtful forgiveness portion when you are vulnerable about it to the Lord and honest about it to your spouse, to God, to your counselors.
And then to even say to the people who are in a relationship and pursuing a godly relationship and dating, I think it's more loving to say that as you create your boundaries of not being together at night, not being alone in a certain setting, having those boundaries. But I think it's even to push that further of creating those boundaries, it's actually more loving to say that I actually don't want to do anything physical with you in this way until we're married. I think that's so it just makes you feel so valued, I'm worth waiting, which you are. That's such a truth that we need to normalize, because that's the word of God. We're he cherishes us, and we're so worthy of being honored and respected, and on both sides too, for men too, your life is valuable and you're a leader, and to even have your boyfriend say that to you, he's already stewarding and guiding you in purity, and that's
if he's not saying that, get out of that relationship.
Or have a conversation. Are we sharing the same convictions? Are we actually sharing the same values? And if you're struggling with that type of sexual sin in your relationship right now, and you're trying to get out of it, seek mentors and have a conversation with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and just ask, is this something that we're going to pursue together and fight together with? Either one of them or both could be struggling with lust and in other ways, and that's the root of it. So then you have to really have accountability, the fruits of the spirit of self-control, and are you actually being guided by your flesh, or are you being by the spirit? And that's a really good marker. You just need to have a really good community to support you in that.
So what are your values? And even this is a whole nother conversation, but I'll just insert here, values and convictions. There's some things that are convictions, meaning God has asked these specific people to hold to a specific standard that's different from other people. But there are some things that are just flat out right and wrong, y'all. There's some things that are just flat out your purity is valuable. That's not a conviction, that is truth. To wait until marriage, verbal, I am going to honor you and I'm going to display that publicly, that this is how we're going to lead each other and we're going to lift each other up. I think sometimes we kind of get this idea that oh, that's a weight put on me, and it's no, that's actually a protection put on you, Anyways, that's another conversation, conviction versus just flat out what's right and wrong, I know another word that's connected to purity is modesty. So I made a video not too long ago just talking about modesty, and I was a little strong in it, but it was just kind of this idea, if purity is represented in both who you are on the inside and on the outside, they should match. And if they do match, then what we're seeing on the outside is actually displaying what's on the inside. And so what is purity? How does that reflect in modesty? And I know in our other conversation it was more about health, but physicality too. Are we representing God? I
think modesty is a pretty hot topic right now. If you're walking with the Lord, and if you have to compromise in any single way, you kind of feel it. You're I kind of feel icky, or is this okay? If you're questioning that, it's you should kind of sit in that a little bit longer. I was working out a few months ago, like a public gym, and I was on the squat rack, and I had leggings, and usually like I wear like a baggy t-shirt, but I was just wearing a regular my size, like true to fit, like ends at the waist Vanguard t-shirt. And I was like, I don't know, like guys are looking, like like if they do or don't, like I never want to be in a position where someone's eyes is like fixed there. Just really fitted around your butt, around your hips, like all this stuff. I don't want just anyone's gaze. I love leggings. Like I always wear leggings and a baggy t-shirt. Like that's more, I feel like that's what I'm like sticking to now, just because I had that like thought in my mind. I just always think about that, like is it so revealing? Is your bust like protruding? Like all throughout the Bible, and when he speaks about purity and modesty, like when you see this in the Word of God, it's God truly cares more about what's in our hearts, and that's what he cherishes and values the most in us. And so I think that's more important to me than wearing a tank top that has like showing all my cleavage or something. You can still be cute, and but there's so many alternatives to it.
There's this emphasis on like your heart is what matters, but at the same time, because I mean I've heard the argument like if your heart is the only thing that matters, then it doesn't matter what I do with my body, it doesn't matter what I do with my flesh, like I can do whatever I want. And we kind of see that in Corinthians, the Corinthian church. Basically they were like full of the Spirit and loved God and sang all the worship songs, but they were like living in crazy, like doing whatever the heck they wanted throughout their day. Like pastor had like 7 wives, like, you know, it's just like like crazy stuff. They're all sleeping around with each other, they're like not living the life that they preached, basically. And so, but their hearts were to worship, but their hearts were speaking about Jesus. So it's like there's a level of what's on the inside needs to represent what's on the outside. And I like that you said, is it more important for you to be exposing yourself than it is to just, I'm gonna go work out? Like, you know,
exactly.
Like what's more important?
There's just, it's a deeper root. If you're going to the gym or going out somewhere and you're just in little clothing, very tight clothing, and it's like, well, I'm going to the gym and it's really hot, so like I don't want to wear t-shirts. I want to wear this set that's like very low. Like I think sports bras should be like supportive and like covered. Like like if you see in other like people who are actually like serious about the gym and like in competition, they're there to work out and actually be about their fitness, and like their clothing is always modest. Like it's always like an actual sports bra that's like the training bras that we used to wear when we were like 12. Like it's like that type of style versus like someone going to the gym and just wearing the smallest little things. And it's like the root of that is attention, and like it's seeking validation, it's seeking affirmation from the world. That type of affirmation, it's like it's so fleeting, it's not satisfying, and you always just want more, or like move on to the next thing. Even for Christians, like I saw this saying and I just love it, and it was just like, you're seeking affirmation from a world who crucified Christ. And I was like, oh my gosh, like yes, like do you understand that? Like can you sit in that and think about just that concept? And like if you need this affirmation, if you need this, like go to Jesus. Like he has wonderful things to say about you. You're constantly on his mind, and he has such good things for you. Like it actually satisfies our desires to an extent where just like we're content, and we feel so loved. To have that first in our lives and to walk in that, that's where we get our confidence from. The word says too, like, for I am holy, you must also be holy. And so like that's our whole call too.
Actually, there was a song that came up on my Spotify like not too long ago when just suggested, or just kind of like new song or whatever. There was a song lyric that said, stop telling me I need Jesus. I don't need Jesus. I just need someone who will actually care about me. And I'm like, but that's the point. That's the point. You're trying to find this like satisfaction from people, and if everyone is imperfect and if everyone is broken, then how can you expect, and also put all that pressure on someone else to make you like whole, you know? So it's like that's why we lean on Jesus
100%. I feel like
he's whole.
Even for people in relationships and they're dating, like that was something that I actually fell into too, where it's just so easy to actually get caught up in that of finding my security, my identity, my value, because my boyfriend's constantly saying that to me, like, oh, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that, like you're the best person ever, like. And then I was like, yeah, I am. Like I could feel that. And then Blake would actually fall short. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like everything that you spoke is like drained, it's crushed, like everything, it's gone. And then the Holy Spirit's like, that's because I wasn't number one. If it's not secure in the Lord, the enemy will try to like snip his way in. I think it's super important to find your security and your identity first in the Lord before anyone else like speaks into that. And that's something that we have to be aware of constantly, whether even if it's our friends or if it's your boyfriend or your husband. Like I think at any stage, we always have to be pure in heart.
I think it's also really great too, like talking about modesty, talking about purity. When you are without God or without understanding, maybe, then it makes sense maybe why there isn't this like, I don't feel convicted or whatever. Like that makes sense for there to be this like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing was actually not honoring. But then when you actually are seeking God and when he does change your life starts changing as a result. And I've seen it. I've seen like influencers and friends who were like, and my mom even says she was, because she didn't know Christ, and that's a whole different testimony, but like she said like she was super into fashion and she lives in New York, like, you know, and she said when she became a Christian or like understood God, she felt totally like, what am I wearing, you know? And I've got to see like even some influencers there, they start maybe in this area and then over time you could see God changing because it's coming out of their life. Like you could see trying to represent themselves more like pure and more holy. And so, and again, we always don't know what's going on in someone's heart, but it's like just making the effort to represent God in a way.
And I feel like as Christian women and men, like if we're called to be set apart, I think we should live above reproach and we should live to a higher standard. If we're going to be influencing the generation behind us, your value doesn't come from what you wear. It doesn't come from how your hair is done or what jewelry you wear and how you represent Christ. And that's going to show through the fruit that you bear. Like, and then for the people who are like not, if they're lacking convictions, that's actually a really scary place to be. Like if you're not hearing the voice of the Lord, if you're not hearing him speak, if you haven't heard from God in a while, then like, are you actually inviting him to your life? Are you living in comfortability and complacency? The enemy loves that. Like he loves to just, I feel like the Lord has been like, okay, so are you someone that I can trust? Are you someone that I can trust you with leading people? Are you someone that I can trust in giving a word to encourage my daughter or my son in? Like those types of things. Like I want to be so close with the Lord and so trustworthy as he is trustworthy to me. So.
Another maybe extreme conversation that I have heard, because I've just had this conversation with so many people, is modesty cultural? Because you see in some other cultures where maybe they're fully clothed and they're still being like lusted over or whatever. And it's like, okay, at some point, like you can only control what you do. You can't always control what other people do. So it's not always about, sometimes it is about like the other person where you're like, is what I'm going to do actually not going to honor that person? And then sometimes it's actually like, I'm doing what the Lord is calling me to do, and at some point they need to control themselves at the same time. So it goes both ways. What we're wearing could be considered immodest in a different country. And so it's like, okay, where's the line? Where's the gray area of modesty? I remember I still am and was super into streetwear. Endeavor is a streetwear brand. Like, come on. Like, put the link in there, grab a sweater, grab a hoodie if you'd like some. I love streetwear. But from like freshman year of high school all the way to like probably like a year ago, 10 years, 8 years. And I mean, I still love streetwear, but there was an underlined feeling of, I'm so tired of people thinking I'm immodest, maybe because I'm like curvy in this area or curvy in that area. Like if I wore a basic t-shirt, then it might be like too revealing or whatever. And so I would just wear baggy clothes all the time. And then I just avoided the whole thing entirely. Like that kind of was like, and then I made it my whole personality. Like that was kind of what I did. Also being really tall, I'm 5'8", like I can't wear skirts. I can't wear, there's just some things I can't wear, and our bodies are all different. So some things on me might be immodest, the same shirt on you might be modest. So it's like our bodies are different.
True.
I couldn't wear a lot of things to school, shorts, skirts, like nothing, because then it would like be seen as immodest. So I was like, forget that. I'm gonna find a style where I don't even have to worry about that. Got into streetwear, and then it wasn't until a year ago I had a conversation with my mom, and it was kind of like, you're growing up, you're an adult, you're a woman, like the streetwear thing is great. Nothing against streetwear, but at the same time, like, you want to maybe touch into your little femininity side just a little bit? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I can't wear anything. And then I started like figuring out, okay, maybe I can like dress a little bit more classy, dress a little more, I love business anyways. So it's like, it was kind of that discovery of like, I could still be cool in streetwear, but like that mentality of like, I'm going to totally avoid my feminine side was wrong on my part. Like that was wrong. Like you shouldn't avoid like your beauty.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to be ugly.
Like you don't, and you don't have to run away from like who you are. Like if you love a certain like top and like you think it's really pretty, it's like, oh, like I can't really wear skirts because my legs are thicker, like, you know, whatever it is, but like you could still wear black jeans and it have the same type of look. Like there's always those modifications and you have to run from it. It's a weird balance. I feel like it's a hard topic to talk about, but there's really obvious ones, and then like the gray is a little bit tricky. Like I love gray center blazer, like it's so cute, and everybody's bodies are different in the way that it, like the way that we're sized and all that stuff. So I think it's pretty obvious when it's not. So, and if it's questionable, whatever the modification is, it's something that needs to be said and educated to younger Christian women who are growing and like being around all these girls who, like, if they're in high school, some people are more, they have a bigger bust, and some girls don't. And like, so it's like there's going to be those things that where we can't always wear the same things. But
there's a balance to everything. Take initiative of what you can do. And then also what other people do is what they do. Like if this person is, you know, let them gouge their eyeballs out, like if they need to, like, but also know what you're doing as well. Like everyone needs to be held to a higher standard. And especially if you know Jesus, you're held to a higher standard.
If you look up modesty in the Bible, there's like a few scriptures that will like kind of talk about women. Like it says, women, don't braid your hair, don't wear jewelry, don't wear gold, or like whatever it was. But when you actually look up at the context of that scripture, those scriptures is actually referring to they were in the church, and so when they were in prayer and all that stuff, like it was basically saying don't wear things that are being distracted from the main purpose and the main point of what's being done, and that was glorifying God and giving Him attention, or having all the attention and focused on Him. So it's like, I think that's a really good marker of what we wear.
Take care of yourself, of course. There's a difference between wearing something flattering and something very out there. Like you don't have to be ugly. Please take care of yourself. But at the same time, keep the main thing the main thing. I love that. We have some viewer questions that I would love to ask, so they know a little bit about the topic. And since this is a hot topic, I had to narrow it down to a couple, so sorry if all of your questions don't get answered. Just ask them in the comments and then we'll go ahead and respond. But I went ahead and picked the top 3 that were a little bit different from each other. Question number 1, and then I think we kind of answered this already. Does the Bible talk about modesty? What is considered modest?
What it breaks down to the context of what it's saying in the Bible. Braided hair, gold. So it wasn't about what you put on. It wasn't about the clothes you wore, the jewelry that you wore, or how your hair was done. Really, basically what the Bible is saying about modesty is what I think, as I interpreted it, was that what we wear shouldn't take distraction from God, and it shouldn't bring attention to us, misrepresentation of value, because we don't get our value from what we wear and how we look. Not saying that we can't wear things that we like, but just finding ways to make it modest and to make it not bring you attention in ways that are lustful or ways that are just not honoring to the Lord.
And I love that you didn't put as much emphasis into the things. Do not wear this jewelry. Do not wear this, like have your hair this way, because it's not about the things. Those are just like,
it was examples.
Like
the jewelry part was like, it was actually really costly to wear gold and have that in your hair and all that stuff. So it was like you were doing this on purpose and like you were seeking it. Like our content shouldn't come so much from what we wear and how we look. It should come from other things that are more valuable, of meeting people and loving people. So.
I love that. The Bible doesn't talk about shorts and skirts, and I'm like, it's the same analogy as hair and gold, and like it's not necessarily the things in the acting world. This is very like a great analogy, very specific to the same thing. When you're doing an audition or you're playing a role, they always say make sure that you're present and that your prop isn't the main thing that's like taking away from the scene. So there's this talent manager and she watches these auditions and she's like, man, I really loved this scene that you did, but I was distracted by this prop that was in your hand and I couldn't focus on what you were saying. And it's the same concept of like, is the things that you're wearing that are on you that you have, are they distracting from the main conversation, from the main things? So cinema tips 101.
Because you could look like the nicest, the greatest person, but are you actually? Like, I would rather be friends with someone who is like, just has a regular, ordinary wardrobe, and they have the best heart and are always there for me, always like just encouraging. Like I like, it makes sense the Lord cares more about what's in our hearts because that lasts.
Question number 2 is, the Bible says that only the heart matters. Why should I care about what I do with my body? Everyone has different convictions.
Our bodies actually house the Holy Spirit, like he actually lives in us. So I think it's important for us to take care of our health, to be healthy and to be whole. Like, I think that's important. What you do with your body, it is a tool to communicate to the Lord, to the world. There's a statement in that. It's like, why don't you wear micro skirts? I'm like, let me tell you why, actually. And so like, it opens up conversations. We're able to kind of state our why, back our why.
Your body is a tool. Your body is a tool to, like we talked about in the fitness episode, if you're not eating the right things, you're not going to be able to hike up that mountain. You're not going to be able to like do the hard tasks. If your body is a tool, what are you using it for?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you using it for, to keep the main thing, or are you using it for other things?
I think it just like goes into like your discipline and your self-control. There's no standard look. There's just like a taking care of your body, because you want to live long, you want to stay healthy, and like there's ways to do that. So.
Our last question is, if I have lost my purity by giving it to someone who is not my future husband or wife, am I impure?
Yes, but we're all impure because it's a condition of your heart. So there could be someone who they're still virgins, but like, I think it's a state of your heart that actually matters. And that's what we kind of have to really sit in. Regardless of that, like, the Lord totally invites us. And when we surrender and follow him, we are in this journey of him perfecting us and being purified. The answer is yes, but we're all impure, and but that doesn't determine your future. Like, you can be made whole and redeemed by the Lord and by the blood of Jesus.
I love that. No one is stained unclean. We come into everyone, you come into a conversation, you already come with your preconceived like ideas and associations of words to things. Impure doesn't have to be unclean. Like, you're not stained unclean because of the things that you've done in your life. Like, Jesus renews that. Like, when we come to him,
when you go take a shower, do you go to the shower already clean? It's like, no, you go to the shower to get clean. And so that's the same way of getting to Jesus. Like, don't let your past or the things that you've done that aren't pure inhibit you from coming to the Lord, because he wants to wash that off of you.
How can a young person stay on the path of purity? By living according to your word. That's Psalms 119:9. For God did not call us to be impure, but to live a holy life, which is 1 Thessalonians 4:7. Thank you so much, Millie, for being part of this conversation.
So
if you were inspired, encouraged, or just have any more questions that you would like to just have a conversation about, go ahead and comment down below, share this video with a friend, subscribe, and follow Millie in her journey, as she does do a lot of these conversations at colleges, at young adults, things like that. And now it's time for you to get up and do something, because your day is just beginning.